We're Karin and Jeremy, an average couple with average jobs and limited vacation time. When we take trips, we have 1 or 2 weeks, 3 if we're lucky, and we want to see and do as much as possible when we travel. Join us as we maximize our vacation time on Mapping It.
We're at Canyonlands National Park, and behind us is a dirt road called the Shafer Road. It is intense, and it descends 1,400 feet into the canyon where you can access the backcountry.
We had a full day of activities planned, so we didn't have time to drive the Shafer Trail on this trip. But now that we've seen it, it's on our bucket list for our next visit. The trail has a 15-mile-per-hour speed limit, and people going uphill have the right of way. And if you choose to drive this trail, be sure to have a vehicle with high clearance and 4-wheel drive. We had planned to catch sunrise at Mesa Arch, but we made a stop at the Shafer Trail and ended up sticking around to watch sunrise from there. We had the place mostly to ourselves, and the views were incredible, so we think we made the right choice.
Driving in Utah has been really fun. The roads are well maintained, and they're pretty interesting to drive. Got a lot of zigzaggy roads, some switchbacks, very interesting scenery all over the place. Nothing is disappointing.
We're here at Mesa Arch.
We missed sunrise, but it doesn't matter because the view is incredible. Everything is incredible in Utah. That's what you should take away from this.
Mesa Arch is 27 feet long and is right at the edge of a cliff. And although it might be tempting, don't walk on the arch.
The hike to get here was really short. I think it's about half a mile round trip, and it's so worth it.
It's a loop trail, and we chose to go counterclockwise. If you go this direction, you'll have a little bit of uphill walking in the beginning, but the route back to the car will be mostly downhill.
Well, we just finished up at Mesa Arch. It was really pretty, and we had the place pretty much to ourselves. We wanted to come for sunrise, but we're very glad we didn't because we saw so many people leaving the arch as we were coming. They were all there for sunrise, and it would have been packed. We would have had a hard time getting any good photos. So here's our tip. Come after sunrise, maybe about half an hour after sunrise, and you'll have the place to yourself.
The trails aren't always easy to find, but this is a trail marker, so when you see these, you know you're going the right way.
We really enjoyed Mesa Arch and spent around half an hour taking in the views. Including hiking time, we probably spent around an hour here and didn't feel rushed. After a stop at the visitor center to talk to a park ranger, they recommended doing the scenic drive, so we hopped back in our car and headed for Grand Viewpoint Overlook.
We're at the Grand Viewpoint Overlook at Canyonlands National Park.
It's part of the Island of the Sky portion of the national park. It was about a 20-minute drive to get here from the visitor center, and the views are spectacular. Behind us, you can see an incredible canyon, and it's about 1,400 feet below where we are. And it was carved by the Colorado River. And you can drive along the road that crests the rim if you have a 4-wheel drive. And it's about a 100-mile drive, and you can go backcountry camping, but you need a permit for that. We're not about to undertake that today.
Canyonlands National Park spans over 300,000 acres of land and is divided into 3 different sections. The Island in the Sky district of the national park is the easiest to visit, and 76% of all park visitors go to this district.
We are at Candlestick Tower Overlook.
You can see it behind us.
Island in the Sky has many scenic viewpoints and is easy to explore by car. The Needles district is the second most visited region and sees around 20% of park visitors, and it's a great place to go hiking. The last region of the park is called the Maze and only sees around 1.5% of park visitors. It's very remote and difficult to explore, but rewarding for those that make the journey. We're hoping to do some hiking in the Needles district the next time we visit Canyonlands.
We made it to Dead Horse Point State Park, which is a pretty terrible name for a state park if you ask me, but the views are supposed to be worth it.
If you only do one thing at Dead Horse Point State Park, you should take the scenic drive out to Dead Horse Point. The views overlooking the desert landscape and the Colorado River are fantastic. There are also hiking trails that follow the east and west rims of the mesa and have great views of the canyon below.
We're at Dead Horse Point, and the story goes that cowboys would herd wild mustangs onto the point, and the neck of the point is only 30, meters or feet?
Sometimes yards.
30 yards wide, or feet or meters, whatever. And so it was very narrow, and they would leave the mustangs out there. They would take the ones that they wanted to keep and bring them with them, and then they would put a barricade across of like sticks and rocks and whatever across the neck to block the neck. And the horses that remained on the point would just starve and die. And therefore it's called Dead Horse Point.
According to the park website, this only happened one time. Typically, the horses that weren't chosen would be set free. It's an unfortunate story, but because of the park's name, those horses will be remembered forever. Don't let the name deter you. The park is worth a visit for some fantastic views. We got back in our car, heading towards Moab to see our second national park of the day and enjoying some beautiful scenery along the way.
Whatever time you think you need to go to Utah and see everything, double it, because there are so many scenic viewpoints. You're going to be stopping every 5-10 minutes in some of these spots. You're going to need extra time. We made it to ARCHES National Park. This is the last of the Mighty Five for us.
We got here a little after 2 in the afternoon, and the park was closed to new visitors. It had been closed since 11 that morning. They eventually reopened around 2:30, so thankfully we didn't have to wait long, but some people had been waiting over 3 hours to enter the park. If you're going to come to ARCHES National Park, come early or come late. Don't try to come during the busiest time of the day when they might be closed to new visitors. And in case you show up when the park has shut its gates, check their Twitter feed to keep an eye on when they reopen. ARCHES National Park spans around 76,000 acres of high desert on the Colorado Plateau. There are over 2,000 arches in the park, making this the highest density of natural arches found anywhere in the world.
Well, we made it into ARCHES National Park, and we're heading towards Delicate Arch. It's about 2 hours round trip,
Maybe 3 if you stop to take a lot of photos.
but it should be fun.
The hike to Delicate Arch is the most popular trail in the park, but it's pretty challenging. It's about a 3-mile hike round trip, 1.5 miles to get to Delicate Arch, and most of that is up a steep slick rock hill that's completely exposed. Also, you don't get views of the arch until the very end of the trail.
Well, we're hiking the trail to Delicate Arch. It's a 3-mile hike, and we've come from there. You can see the parking lot behind us. It's quite a ways. And then we still have to go all the way up here.
At the top of the hill, the trail levels out, and once you reach the narrow rock ledge, you're almost there.
We made it to Delicate Arch.
Woohoo!
With the sun and the heat, this wasn't an easy hike, but we're glad we did it because you just can't beat that view. Delicate Arch is 46 feet high and 32 feet wide, making it the largest freestanding arch in the park. We found a spot on the slick rock to sit back and enjoy the view for a while.
Well, we just finished up at Delicate Arch, so let's go. We're finishing up our hike at Delicate Arch, and we have a couple tips if you want to do this trip too. First, it's 480 feet of elevation gain, and as you can see behind us, a lot of it is sheer. There's also no shade. The trail is very exposed, so when you do find shade, be sure to take a break and wear good hiking shoes.
And bring lots of water.
Lots and lots of water. You're gonna need it.
And wear lots of sunscreen.
After that hike, our energy was beginning to fade. It had been a long day, but we still had a couple more things we wanted to see.
This is balanced rock behind us. Jeremy doesn't want to hang out under it.
The Balanced Rock Formation is 128 feet tall, and the boulder is around 3,600 tons, which is over 4 million kilograms. As erosion continues to shape the landscape, eventually the rock will come tumbling down.
Come with us to Double Arch.
Let's go.
It's an easy, mostly level trail to get to Double Arch. At 112 feet tall, Double Arch is the tallest arch in the park. It has a span of 144 feet, making it the second longest arch after Landscape Arch.
This is Double Arch behind us, and it was used in an Indiana Jones movie.
Double Arch was featured in the opening scene of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. By the time we finished up exploring Double Arch, it was after 7 p.m. and we were pooped. We headed into Moab for some tasty barbecue from Spitfire Smokehouse. Everything we had was really good. We especially loved the honey barbecue chicken wings and the loaded fries with pulled pork. It was a great way to end a long day.
We're at Canyonlands National. Driving in the roads here are really well taken care of.
You gotta say something.
I always say something.
Or
We're in the shade. I can't.
Karin can't see because there's sun. And that's a Karin. And that's a Karin. And that's a Karin. Hey, look, a cactus. Ouch. And if you can guess, we're gonna definitely see some dead horses.
Oh, people. Whatever time. Oh my gosh. Double Arch is 144 feet in